Now, so throughout the show, we've been looking for tools or, little things to improve our efficiency, our workflow, and how we share media. And it happens to be that we found something that will do just that at PNY. Now, we don't normally talk about small little storage devices, but once we see these things, we kind of realize just how important they could be for our workflow. So these are the dual link OTG devices from PNY. They vary from capacity of 32 to 128 gigabytes, so that's pretty good range. You can buy them on Amazon, so we'll link a few down below. But for example, I'll give you an actual example of how these could be useful. We share media across the team all the time. So Eber, with his beautiful Pixel phone, takes a photograph and it looks hyper realistic, and me and Mike here just are crying over what these cameras can do. Eber, get that phone out of my frame, please. Seriously? So Eber will take a picture, plug in this Type-C into his phone, transfer his media so that I can plug this back into my phone and download these pictures, and there where we can share on social media because Eber doesn't have access, alright? Boom. Now normally you would share media over Wi-Fi, but there's compression, sometimes you don't get internet access, and also, what if the file is gigantic? If he's shooting 4K video on his Pixel, I want that information right here. This is the only way to go if you want that raw data. We do have different connections, so Type-C, micro USB, and the lightning port for your iPhone. The iPhone one is nice and fancy, and also can charge your phone, by the way. So here on the other end is a USB Type A, so you can extract information from your phone and plug this thing to your computer, so you can have that raw data there as well. It's also very good for backup, 128 gigabyte capacity. I can plug it in, I can enable the backup on the app by itself, so it can automatically do the things in the background. And I don't have to worry about something crashing, and just have all that information safe in a separate place. But another cool thing that I want to share with you guys is this little number. So what I have in my hand is 512 gigabytes of storage, half a terabyte in my hand, so I can plug this into my phone, Nintendo Switch, do my drone, into anything, because it also has obviously the full size SD adapter. This is the PNY 512 gigabyte micro SD card. That is insane, my friends. We could have shot this entire Computex coverage of all 7 days on this single micro SD card with the adapter and still not have run out of storage.
But dangerous.
But also quite dangerous, yes. Obviously, there are multiple uses for a micro SD card if you're plugging this thing into your smartphone. The only thing is that the firmware on the smartphone has to match or has to support such large capacities, but I'm sure as more of these become available, that will not be an issue. Alright, so now that we're back from PNY, let me show you how we've been working for the past week to deliver this content for Computex. There are a lot of stories on this table, so let's begin with a banana. You're so skeptical. Like, what?
Here's a banana.
So Computex always claims some victims. So right now, Eber's charger is literally falling apart. Potentially, we're gonna replace it when we go to the camera store. My brand new Logitech G305 mouse stopped working all of a sudden. While Eber's mouse is also wireless, it still works, but only under 24 hours, so you have to recharge it constantly. It's super an annoyance. Michael's headphones right here have fallen apart. Look at that cable. I don't even want to touch them. I feel like they're gonna just disintegrate in my hands. And the last thing that's kind of been broken is the internet. So if we have 3 devices connected to the Wi-Fi, nothing is going through. So we have to constantly disconnect one of the devices so we can upload the videos. So the notebook spectrum here is quite surprising. Michael, why don't you tell us about your 10-year-old Vio?
10-year-old Vio Z, one of the best ones that have ever been made. One of the best notebooks I've ever had, is being replaced. Unfortunately, everything still works, still 8 hours of battery life, and it actually has USB ports. So there's that.
It has more USB ports than my MacBook.
It has more USB ports than the new Dell XPS notebook.
Oh, and check this out.
Yeah.
A disk drive.
All inside a compact.
It's relatively thin, but it has an expanded battery on the bottom. Check that out.
Wow.
So 8 hours of battery life and ergonomics.
Eber, what about you?
Well, I'm using the Gigabyte Aero 15X. As you guys know, this has been my editing workstation PC ever since I got it. I've done a few upgrades, so I've added a new SSD, or an additional SSD for my Adobe Scratch Disk, and I maxed out the RAM to 32 gigabytes. Now, with the recent update with Adobe Premiere, hardware installation has been an amazing feature. Videos just run faster. Like, for example, a 10-minute video renders in like 2 minutes. So overall, a fantastic notebook for mobile editing.
I'm very jealous of that one, Eber, because I'm on a mid-2015 MacBook Pro. That thing with hardware acceleration is actually not bad, but yeah, it's quite slow. It's quite slow. And this Sony Vaio is running the appropriate Windows software, the Windows 7.
Which only requires 1 gig of memory to run.
And this notebook has how many?
2.
My phone has 4 gigs of RAM. That's insane. Your OnePlus has like what, 6 gigs of RAM? That's insane, dude.
But that just shows that the way that they're making programs nowadays, not right. Not right at all.
All right, so we love to discover new little things to improve our workflow and efficiency, and we'll try to, of course, bring you more of this type of stuff that is a little bit unconventional, potentially not many people talk about it, but of course could be something super useful in our and potentially your daily life.